Let me confirm. Yep, we're live again.
That would be highly awkward if we were, in fact, not live again.
All right, let me go back to Twitter and just put out the update.
Yeah. But
mute myself.
Here's the real question here, Gavin. Is the uploaded quality better on the YouTube stream?
Yeah, much better.
That's good.
All right, post is up, and I think we're done talking about Miami, Nashville. So let's move it on.
We are, yeah. Let's move on now that our show's been weirdly delayed by technical difficulties. We're instead going to go to a little place that I think embodies the MLS Now podcast. Many people say, and especially during the Leagues Cup, that we never sleep. Well, DC United was caught taking a nap in the city that never sleeps as they fall to NYCFC 2-0. You know, I do want to start this off, actually, Gavin, with a quick correspondence corner from Coach Joe to give us some flavor of the match.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading those.
You are reading those, yeah.
I was waiting for you to read it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can. But
I got it. You teed me up beautifully, and I just was zoning out. Okay.
Dude, just Joe like DC says, United.
Yep, falling asleep at the wheel. Match 3 of a 5-game homestand, this time with all the hoopla of the new stadium being official and the mayor milking every photo op. 2 questions entering the match for NYCFC was, who will score, and can Benteke be neutralized? The answers were DP Santi Rodriguez in his 100th MLS appearance and Julian Fernandez. The answer to the second question was yes, but with a caveat that he would get opportunities but be unable to finish. DC looked in free fall mode while the Pigeons seemed to have found their footing during this home stretch. Can NYCFC sustain this play while having 0 goal contributions from their 9s? Check in next week. NYCFC have been on a good run. Feels like their offensive players, not their number 9s, but like Santi Rodriguez, they've really been heating up. And they're now 4 games undefeated. 2 wins, 2 draws. And they are in the middle of a 5-game homestand. But the first of those 4, I think, was an away draw against Miami when they had some injuries. So they get the away draw against Miami, come back home, 1 more draw, 2 wins on the bounce. Things are looking pretty good. So
things are looking good. Gavin, are we Nick Cushing in?
Hey, you know what I said earlier this season? I said Nick Cushing in because that's the only way it's going to work.
You know what? You're right. You did say that, and that may now turn out to be the only way that it's working. So I guess credit to Nick Cushing for maybe finally figuring it out. You know, I know Coach Joe hates the phrase "give people their flowers," so I think it's very important that we give Nick Cushing his flowers.
Yeah, so far so good for them. It's helpful that his key players are popping up with goals, right? Fernandez scored this week. He scored last week. Santi Rodriguez scored this week. Santi Rodriguez scored against Atlanta. So like they're getting contribution now from their offensive players a little bit more, and they've got 2 more favorable home games where you would expect them to keep going and keep winning, especially with the Yankee Stadium tax.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking up right now just because I was about to say that DC United, I'm not necessarily worried about them yet, but here's the thing. DC United are 1 win in their past 5 matches now, and that goes back quite a ways. So maybe are we worried about DC United again? I mean, but did we have high expectations for DC United in the first place? So should we even be worried?
Yeah, DC were decent, but they were drawing a lot of games. Like you said, they have 1 win. Like, I think they looked pretty competent. So it was like, we were giving them a pass, but now we're kind of seeing their true colors right now, and it's not great. I mean, they recently switched to this 3-back system, and it did not work against Orlando. It almost did, but Orlando got the comeback win, and then it didn't work in this one either. A lot of times, NYCFC were getting down the wings and cutting in, and DC did not look comfortable with that, and their wide players just got overloaded. And logically, it kind of makes sense. Like, if you're going to leave space against NYCFC, leave it on the edges because you really want to compact the middle because it's such a tight pitch. But it didn't work at all, and NYCFC had a lot of joy. This could have been like a 3 or 4-1, 3 or 4-0 type of game. NYCFC just didn't finish all of their chances. So it was a poor one from DC, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, again, I'm not sure if I had high expectations for them. Initially, I think we rubber banded a little bit from some promising signs early on. So
yeah,
I don't want to overcorrect too much.
Yeah, can we skip to Seattle? We got Alex in the chat, who's always here on Mondays. He's asking about Seattle.
Absolutely. I would love to talk about Seattle because here's the thing, Gavin. So Seattle 0, Vancouver 2. The Cascadia Cup, Vancouver went to Seattle and they rainier'd on their parade.
This is a man who was recently in Washington.
Yeah, I was in Seattle, an amazing city. I was there actually during the weekend of their 5-0 win over Montreal, and the vibes were immaculate in the city. I'm glad that I was in the city for that week and not this one, because I think the vibes were probably not immaculate.
Yeah. So Alex in the chat says, as a Sounders fan, it's painful seeing Morris, Reagan, and Alex Roldan. Period. It's just painful to see them.
Yeah. No lies detected.
Morris is now an outdated player, in my opinion. Reagan is not good enough. Never has been. And Nathan should start over him. Nathan, man, I think Nathan's a decent center back, but I don't know if he's starting for Seattle quality, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's going to be, because they're going to be missing 2 players next week.
Fair. And then he also says, Alex Roldan is bad defensively. We need new attacking talent. Everybody is getting injured in training. So conclusion, Brian out now. Wow. Yeah, it's time for a reset. I think it's kind of been slowly trickling, but you don't usually see Seattle lose at home against Vancouver. Not that I can recall. It's not a common thing. Or really lose at home in general. It's not been a common thing, and just recently it started to pop up here a little bit now. And the 5-0 win was kind of like, are Seattle back? Or Seattle, have they clicked? No, that was definitely a flash in the pan, it feels like.
Yeah. I think, and we've maybe discussed this a few times previously, that Seattle probably missed the time to start the rebuild by either at least 1 full year, if not almost a year and a half to 2 years, which I think, for better or worse, Schmetzer has probably earned the rest of the season just on his resume and time with Seattle. I do agree, though, it's probably time to move on, unless you go out and find a GM who's, basically 100% aligned with Schmetzer, and ownership thinks, Schmetzer still has something left in the tank. He just needs a GM who's aligned with him and can get, the hard decisions done, such as, Rui Diaz probably needed to be gone. Roldan, agreed. Not good enough anymore. Morris, Mr. Speed and Power maybe needs to become, I don't want to say like a bench guy, but I'm not sure if where this league is going quality-wise, if he's starting caliber if you want to continue to challenge for MLS Cup.
No, not in his current state. Even last season, he had flashes. He had bits of really good form. Remember, he started the season really well. He had a little patch in the middle of the season, but that was really it. You got to be more consistent than that across the whole season if you want to be, making DP level dollars, if you want to be starting for teams that are trying to win the cup, trying to win Champions Cup. So, yeah, unfortunately, there's a big overhaul needed, and it's going to take a clear strategy, a clear direction, and they can't falter because there's going to be some tough times. And so I think move on from Brian, end of the season, play this one out. If it starts to get too bad, then like move on from him, I guess. But like play this one out. It kind of sucks that it's a write off for a season, and then new coach in, cycle some players out. The Roldans could go. You could keep one of them, I guess, but one of the Roldans can go. Rui Diaz should have left with his contract. Ladero's already gone, but like Reagan can go. Everyone loves him, but like, do you still need Nuhu? He's a good, solid player, but like, I don't know. It's just time for fresh faces. Let's mix it up a bit. Maybe it's not Nuhu, but like, I don't know. Someone who can replace Joao Paulo because he's always injured. Things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone replaces Joao Paulo because I think when healthy, he's still probably one of the best in the league at that position.
Yeah, but a fresh 60-70% Joao Paulo, like in terms of another player who's 60-70% the quality of Joao Paulo, is better than not having Joao Paulo for 70% of the season.
I guess that's true. Availability is the best ability. So,
in my opinion, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the team that won. I hope that was good enough for you, Alex. Vancouver, 2-0.
Right.
Yep. Your boys, they got the dub in their rival's backyard. Always the best feeling.
Absolutely. I was shocked when I looked at the starting lineup and did not see Krylock starting.
He hasn't been bona fide starter though.
He hasn't been, and when we went into the season, I was convinced that Krylock was going to be a tacked-on starter who was going to make everything click and was going to be that third dangerous presence so that Brian White and Ryan Gauld can, be their dynamic threats, but that they would then have someone like Krylock up front to create space for them to either make runs, to play off of. And yeah, to your point, he hasn't been that starter. And yet, Gauld and White continue to just carry on being really good. And that stop me if you heard this before, they were really good in this game too. I mean,
yeah, no, it's just if another team signed Krylock, I feel we would have seen him being in this sort of role and not being the starter. And obviously he started some games, but like it's almost like Vancouver just haven't been at the top in so long that I feel like we expected Krylock to be just another player that they lean on, when really at his age, at his level of quality now, they should have starters and he should be an impact guy off the bench. Similar to Ladero in Orlando. Older guy, MLS vet, signing to a new team. Ladero's not a bona fide starter for Orlando right now. He's kind of in and out at the moment. So I think it's good for Vancouver that they're in this position to have a guy like Krylock come off the bench and be an impact player, and they don't have to run him into the ground because he's the only player with quality in their attacking third. I think it speaks volumes to where that club has come from and where they've gone, that now he's on the bench.
Very fair. Well, hey, there were 2 red cards in this match. I'm not sure if you saw that. I did want to talk about those red cards. One of them was, I believe that the first one was initially awarded a yellow, was then advised by VAR that it was a straight red, and referee went, looked at it, said, yes, this was serious foul play. Straight red issued. I personally think the first yellow might have been acceptable. I don't. They had to look at it and say this was clear intent to be, reckless in nature and go after this player in a way that threatened their well-being. I don't know if that's what happened there, but I'm not there in person, right? I can't read the temperature of the game. So maybe that's what it is. I still appreciated that there was the announcement that, there was a statement saying it was this player for serious foul play. I like the in-stadium announcements. I'll say that. That's a very nice thing.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah. The Roldan red card was just, I think Roldan just didn't want to be on the field anymore. That was an easy red card. It was dumb. I think basically every player was like, this game sucks. I don't want to be here. Roldan didn't want to be there bad enough that he got sent off. So
I'm not a fan of the first red card at all. It's a common occurrence where a player will just push another player in the back, and just this time he happens to step on his foot. It's a yellow card. It's a yellow. It's not a red. I don't think it meets the level to be a red card. So,
yeah. And I certainly don't think it meets the level to be reviewed by VAR and recommended as a clear and obvious error.
No, it's not clear and obvious at all. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I agree on the second one. So, yeah. Vancouver are second in the league.
Yeah. Second in the league.
Is that right?
Behind the Galaxy.
Oh, second in the West. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
They're tied.
I was on autopilot. Yes, they are second in the West.
Okay. Second in the West. I think third or fourth in the league based on goal difference or wins or whatever it is. So, yeah, exciting times.
Really exciting times. And correct. Yeah, I believe they're third in the league based on the tiebreaker. So,
yeah. Awesome. Well, let's jump back into order and keep it moving.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we left off initially at Toronto 1, New England 0. I had a really good joke about the greater Toronto area being referred to as GTA, but here's the thing, Gavin. All of that is overshadowed because we watched a prince become a king with my goal of the week. A beautiful, amazing acrobatic goal. I mean, I did not appreciate the excellence of that goal by Owusu until they showed it in like the slow motion instant replay. And it's just watching someone receive the ball in the air, passing it to their back foot to then go behind their back into the goal while beating another player is just...
Yeah, it was a gorgeous goal. I was like, how did he do that? What the heck? That was insane.
It took me like 3 or 4 watches to even understand what I was looking at.
Luckily for me, I saw it on the first one, but I was over at my buddy's house and, they were showing we were at halftime and they were showing the other goals across the league. And that one came up and I was like, as soon as I saw it, I went, bro, you got to see this. I've never seen something like that before. Like, it's not every day you can say that on a soccer pitch, but I had genuinely never seen a flying through the air back heel goal with so much power generated on the shot. It was just good movement from Prince and obviously good technique and good flexibility to kind of quickly come up with a back heel that worked perfectly. So yeah, that one will live long in the memory for sure. That was pretty good.
I think David was tweeting that he didn't think that was the best goal of the week.
David? Oh, man, don't listen to him. He is he loves a bit of drama. I'll say that.
David likes to stir the pot. Hey, I'm going to stir the pot a little bit more here. Caleb Porter is the coach for now of New England.
Yeah.
Do you think Caleb Porter is the first, or at least in the top 3 of coaches to be fired this season? Because, I mean...
I feel like they're going to give him time. I feel like they're going to let him work through this and use him as a transition manager. I don't think he gets fired, no matter how bad it gets. I know. But like, this is a club that was clearly in transition. Bruce Arena, they had Bruce Arena, and then lost him. And we've all seen what's happened now. Right, they've literally been a plane crash. But you can't just hire coach, fire coach, hire coach, fire coach until you find someone. Like,
maybe they should.
This feels like a very transition period for them that they're going to have to wait out and work through, and keep Caleb Porter through it. Why not?
I mean, do they want any fans when they eventually build that stadium closer to the city?
That's true.
Hear me out on this, Gavin.
Okay.
They could do the firing in like the next month or two, because the global coaching churn will begin, where coaches start to shuffle in Europe. There's going to be people who are out of contract. There are going to be people who maybe they got relegated and they got fired. There's teams that are already, finding out now as we speak where they're going to be playing next season. And the decisions about the future of those coaches is going to be decided. There's time for agents to reach out, to talk to ownership groups, to talk numbers, to talk vision. I think if they really were motivated and felt that they weren't just going to write off this season, that they could make a change in the next 2 months. And they could do so going into the summer window when they could then make additions.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're in win now mode. Like, if they're in win now mode, then yes, make the change. But I honestly think they're in transition and they're going to be taking this slow. I see what you're saying, but it's like, my guess is they wait out Carlos Heel, they sell Buck, they get in a new striker who we'll talk about him in a second, but Vrioni. Just Vrioni. So maybe they should take a leaf out of Toronto's book and go get Prince Owusu type player. I mean,
Ed, I see what you did there. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, Alex said in the chat, Prince Owusu is underrated. He's got 4 goals this season. Like, he's been great for Toronto so far. But yeah, I think they're in transition. So, but you could be very right as well. I mean, didn't Caleb Porter only last the first 12 or something weeks last season as well? Or no? That was a different coach. That was Armas. That was Chris Armas I was thinking of.
Yeah.
At Toronto.
I say Porter. Well, I mean, yeah. Toronto, the coach there didn't last long either. But
that's what Toronto, I was thinking of.
Yeah. Toronto ownership group has, I think, more ambition than New England, at least. So
yeah. I wrote a couple of headlines down, by the way. For all the games, I wrote or almost all the games I wrote a headline, but mine are a little bit more serious. So I just said Vrioni in 1v1 1v1 on goal and misses the target completely. Not good enough for that play. Not good enough for this season. Like, that's what it feels like for them. New England, like they're still able to create a chance here or there, and just they don't take it. Vrioni's had a dumpster fire of a season. And, the defense is kind of okay. The attack is not good. That's a recipe for a very low point scoring season.
Agree. And I think they will be a low point scoring season.
Like, so far anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I will be honest, I could see a world where they beat FC Cincinnati's record for fewest points in a season.
Well, they'll be competing with the likes of FC Dallas and San Jose.
Which is unbelievable that we have 3 teams this bad in the same year. But it is what it is, I suppose. Hey, Gavin, I'm going to lead us off with our not serious headline. Maybe you've got a serious headline later, but local construction crew left scratching their hard hats after realizing a jackhammer was not the proper tool for cutting down a large forest of timber. 2-2 draw, Columbus versus Portland. Now, You called this the game of the weekend.
I was wrong. Actually, when we were talking, you called the game of the weekend. The event. Well, there's been a couple of them, but you called the eventual one, I think.
Well, I thought it was the eventual one, but then Sunday happened. So,
Nope.
Wow.
No.
Really?
Everyone knows what we're talking about. We'll talk about it later. Yes, I thought this one was going to be game of the weekend. This was still a really good game that I think delivered. I think it was two teams with good players, quality players. They're in good form, and it was a really fun one to watch for me because Columbus were starting to get frantic. Like Columbus really wanted to win this game. It kind of felt like those Premier League games, like Liverpool versus Crystal Palace last weekend, where it's like they're pushing to win, they're trying to win, they're getting a lot of chances. The other team is defending for their lives. That's what it felt like at the end of the match. And it was just Columbus being a good team and really pushing Portland back. And so there was a lot of that kind of energy throughout the entire match. Portland were going up the field and getting goals. Columbus were fighting back. It was just a fun game. I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was a fun game. Cucho on the score sheet again. He was in the press talking about how he learned his lesson. He was mad when he was taken off. He recollected, and it seems like it's water under the bridge now. And I mean, look, he's scoring. So if you're a striker and you're an important player to a team, if you've had a bad spot, but you get back onto the field and you start scoring with regularity, I hate to say it's going to heal all wrongs, but I mean, results speak a whole lot louder than a lot of other things in this sport.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's something I wrote down too. I said nothing heals controversy like scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, on the Portland side of things, Evan there, last 5 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. Dude's on fire.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Okay, this is going to seem like a loaded question because there are some insane production numbers this season already. But is Evander on your short list for MVP at this point in the season?
So far, yeah, but I almost don't even want to go there yet because it's way too early. I mean, yeah, he's on my short list, but
right. I mean, we're
gotta
getting close
see
to a third of the season, though.
Yeah, but that's it. You know, he could do a third, and then I see what you're saying. Yeah, for the first third of the season, he's up there as one of the best players in the league for the first third, right?
Right.
I don't know. I'd rather just get to like the last 10 games, last 12 games, and then look back and say, okay, who's been consistent over the first 2/3 of this season to get on the short list. But yes, he's been one of the best players in the league this season.
I think, Gavin, unfortunately, when it comes to MVP, some of it is also the storyline. If you have an amazing last third of the season, you're not going to win MVP. If your first 2/3 was forgettable.
Yeah, it's always the storyline, it feels like now. I agree with that 100%. I think Agata, was it Willie Agata?
Oh, yeah.
Came into SKC, and his first season scored in like almost every game he played. He came in like halfway through the season. I think he scored like 8 goals in 10 games or something. And, you know, obviously he came into, but anyways, no one was talking about him because SKC weren't very good and he didn't play the first half of the season, that sort of thing. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that said, I mean, it's going to be messy who wins the MVP. I don't know why we're having this conversation.
That's fair. And then we've got to call out the Moreira goal. That was a freaking banger, dude. That was insane. So had to call that out.
A lot of amazing goals this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And that one was just so visually pleasing. Just the right into the top corner. I think it hit off the. Did it hit off both the crossbar and the post and then go in?
Like, I'm pretty sure on that one. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it either hit both or just hit off the crossbar, but it hit one of the posts right in the top corner, went in, perfectly hit. Just anything you could have wanted in a game was in this game.
Yeah. Well, I think you were correct in saying it was going to be a good game. I will hand you that. Draw. If there was, an extra, I don't know, 10 more minutes of stoppage time, I think Columbus gets a win here. Because I think you are right. As the match wore on, it did feel like there was a shift.
Did you see the last play of the game?
Yeah.
Where the Cucho free kick?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
Almost.
I 100% agree. Cucho's free kick, ball trickles across. So Cucho takes a free kick. For anyone who didn't see it, Cucho takes a direct free kick, last kick of the game, hits off the inside of the post, and goes across the face of goal. And nearly hits the goal. Yeah, nearly hits the goalkeeper and goes in. But
right. I think it goes behind the goalkeeper.
It does. Yeah. It's in between the line and the goalkeeper. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
So
if the man scrambled wrong, he might have actually pushed it into his own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. He's lucky he just stood still.
Right. One of the only times that ball watching worked out in someone's favor.
Literally. Yep. So I agree with that. It would have been Columbus's win had it gone on even probably 3 more minutes. They were all over them. It's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to move us on, Gavin. I'm going to take us to Montreal 2, Orlando 2. Montreal left wondering if they were secretly in Disneyland Paris as Orlando channeled some last-minute magic. Nice late draw, Gavin. I think you were probably very happy about it. I will note that a draw was the worst possible outcome for me. I had an unbelievably high, plus 3,000 odds parlay that I hit on everything except a Montreal win that Orlando ruined late. Yeah. And I had another parlay that I used as a hedge that was looking for an Orlando win, and obviously that didn't happen either. So, that draw was not what I had picked.
Yeah.
Real shame.
I'm sorry. I'm happy about it. Yeah.
I know you're happy about it. You ruined everything for me, but I'm glad that you had fun.
I'll be brief with this one. Orlando City, on the Orlando City side of things, we're conceding a lot of first half goals. It's been really frustrating. And for their first goal, the whole defense was really poor. It's just a long ball from midfield where no one's really pressing Piet. The ball goes up, it goes back to Piet, and then he just clips it over the top, and all of a sudden Mason toys through. Galese is way out of his box for some reason. He's not even close to getting that ball, so I'm not sure why he's way out there. So another player or another goal where I'm looking at Galese scratching my head, unfortunately. But yeah, he I think rounds the keeper and scores, or just slots it home because Galese is way out of his box, or way out of the goal line. So 1-0 them. We get a penalty. That was nice. Ladero slotted Muriel in. Muriel just gets there before the keeper. Penalty. That was good. But just a very momentsy game, in my opinion, which it seems to be how both teams are set up this season to get the moments to go their way. Orlando's been like that forever, but that seems to be what Montreal's kind of adopted. And so far it's doing okay for them. I think a draw is a fair result here based on the play. Both teams had chances. Both teams scored chances. Both teams missed chances. So, yeah, I think it's fair.
Draw might have been fair, but it was my least. It was the result that I wanted to see the least. So,
yeah, sorry about that, pal.
Yeah, thanks for nothing, Gavin.
Just doing my job.
Well, hey, in that case, I'll move us on and I'll do my job talking about Atlanta 1, FC Cincinnati 2. The official legal name of FC Cincinnati is Fußball Club Cincinnati, as they claim some German heritage, which, obviously that's why when they went down to the Benz, Atlanta broke down at the Benz to a different team who claims true German heritage over Atlanta. So very appropriate there. Okay, Gavin, this is going to sound weird. This didn't feel like a win to me. I was not optimistic going in. I'm honestly still not convinced that Cincinnati deserved a win here, considering one of the goals, I think the first goal that we got that kind of opened Atlanta up a little bit was off a terrible decision on a short corner that Acosta gets and passes to Luca Orishano, and he goes and slots that home, and it's 1-1. And like 3 minutes later, Acosta scores on a really, really, really good goal. Like Acosta doing Acosta things on that one. But this has felt really weird because for multiple weeks now, Cincinnati has had no real midfield, and Atlanta just refused to press the Cincinnati midfield. Like they gave them time, they gave them possession. The blueprint was given to Atlanta, and it just felt like they chose not to execute there. So I'm happy that they chose not to execute, but this felt like one where if Atlanta had followed the blueprint, I don't know if I saw anything that convinced me that we would have won in those circumstances. So,
but is mid-block pressing really in Atlanta's DNA as a tactic this season? Like they've got Almada, Slige, and Muyumba in there, right? Like you think of Muyumba and Slige, yeah, they can go and press, but like you also need Almada to go and press. And
yeah,
he'll do his work, but he's not gonna, press out of his skin or anything. And
that's true. It's not all that dissimilar from Lucho a lot of the time either, though. So perhaps the only difference is that with Yuya Kubo and Corey Baird up front, Corey Baird had probably the same chances to score as Aaron Bupenza, and they had the same production in that neither of them score with their chances. But one thing is that Baird at least runs and presses a lot more and makes those off the ball runs that I think his teammates are looking for. I don't know what's going on with Bupenza right now. He was benched for this week. He eventually came in, but I mean, he's a designated player and he is coming off the bench behind Yuya Kubo, who I'm not sure what his status is this year, potentially GAM, maybe low TAM player, and Corey Baird, who's like, again, low TAM player. I think he's on like 800,000, so like barely TAM. And that is a very concerning sign for me. And I'll be honest, like Kevin Kelsey apparently is being signed, and he's a 6'4" striker from Venezuela. Ideally, he's going to be your target player like Brandon Vasquez was. I don't know if you take Kubo off the field, considering he's the top goal scorer for FC Cincinnati, or like a joint top goal scorer for FC Cincinnati right now. So now you're looking at a Kubo Kelsey front two pairing. Like, what's going on when your designated player is not starting? It happens to other teams too. And it's easy for us to talk about it there and be like, oh, it's not working out. So yeah, strange times for FC Cincinnati. They've had a real issue figuring out any striking identity. And as a fan, I really hope that they figure something out with Kevin Kelsey, which is not even officially announced, but all the various local reporters and Twitter accounts and everything are all announcing it. And I know one of the local reporters that's got pretty good club sources has tweeted it out as well. So I have no reason to think that it's not anything other than done and dusted.
Do you feel that you guys got Atlanta at the right time where they had a couple players not fully fit?
I don't think it's even that. I don't think that Atlanta game planned very well for Cincinnati.
Okay, so more on the tactics.
Because Cincinnati's lost to teams that are less talented than Atlanta that played the right tactics.
Okay.
So, again, you and I have talked about Gonzalo Pineda.
Yeah.
Quite a lot, length. And
I'll do Bryce's correspondent corner because he also mentions Pineda as well. So he says another week of dropping points at home. Pineda's seat is getting really, really warm. Saba missed a sitter in front of the net early on. Cincinnati scored 2 goals following ours. great teams find ways to walk away from these home games against Philly and Cincinnati with 4 to 6 points. We walked away with 2. The 1. They walked away with 1 point.
Right. The math doesn't math.
The math's not mathing. So 1. Okay, the club is starting to get healthier, though, so we'll see how the group reacts at Chicago, which is the last team we've seen a win against in what will be a month since the matchup on Saturday night. They got to get a win in Chicago. They got
to get a win in Chicago, which is why, Gavin, I'm going to put a bet on Chicago, because I know I said I've got to stop.
You got to stop.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Surely this week.
No. I will. Give me your login. I will cancel it for you.
Hey, Gavin, speaking of Chicago, that's our next matchup to talk about. Chicago 0, RSL 4. There's a dumpster fire going on in Chicago right now, and RSL has decided they just want to like salt the earth as well, just to really, rub some salt in the wound.
But
yeah.
I had a headline.
Yeah.
You ready for this one? I said welcome to the Chicho show. Chicago, get front row seats.
Yeah. That might be your best one of the night so far, again.
It's only my second one, so
Wow.
Either my second or my third. But yeah. Chicho had a really good game. He was running the game. He was getting goals. He got an assist. Chicago just didn't show up. It was bad. I mean, so.
Yeah, they suffered injuries as well. I think Gutierrez had an injury. Might be long-term on that one. Shaqiri, I think, came off early. Was it?
Couldn't tell.
Hold on. I gotta go look, because I remember I was saying it was going to be a Shaqiri masterclass because he looked awful before, and then Shaqiri timeline. Let me see here.
28th minute. Yep.
Yeah,
you're right.
So, yeah, my guess would be Shaqiri injury. There would be no reason that if he's not injured that you take him out at 28 minutes. So,
no, not at 1-0. Yeah.
No.
So, unless there's drama.
Anyways. Yeah, unless there's drama, and he was saying something about Frank Klopas that, the internet's not already saying about Frank Klopas, so.
Yeah, I feel really bad for Chicago fans.
Yeah, I tried so hard to find something positive to say about Chicago. I couldn't.
I just remember last season, didn't they explicitly say they were going to get a coach in the offseason? They were just going to wait. Was that them? I think a couple teams did that. Didn't Red Bulls do that as well? Oh, no, it was Minnesota as well. Yeah. So but I'm pretty sure they explicitly said we're going to wait to get a coach in. And then I think they really never did, or they just signed
they did do
Klopas on full time. It's just so underwhelming. The players are so underwhelming. The tactics. It's been like this for years. They go and get Acosta, one of the better players in MLS. That's good. They get a striker. We talked about their striker recruiting history a bit ago, and it's just every season I look at them and I'm like, oh, there's potential there. Like this could work out, and it just never does. It just never does. It hasn't for like the last 6-7 years. It's depressing. Yeah. It's a little depressing to watch.
I don't want to talk negative about Chicago all that much, Gavin, because that's all I have to say about Chicago is a lot of negative things right now. Hey, yeah. Salt Lake, though. Talking about
my boys. Yeah. My boys.
Yeah.
My Western team.
Chicho Arango, 2 goals. Diego Luna, look, they didn't need his goal for the 4th goal. I think they were probably already going to be fine to win it 3-0. Obviously, 4-0 is better than 3-0, but Diego Luna continues to take some steps. He needs to become more consistent, I'd say. But, we were at one point last season saying Pablo Mastroeni needed to be gone. I'm not sure if I'm like, oh, it was the right decision, gotta keep him forever. Like, I'm not like fully switched on Pablo yet. I'm now more into like the neutral / skeptic camp instead of the strictly Pablo out camp, though.
Dude, Pablo's been good for them. I mean, I know it's early in the season, but they're what, third place in the West?
Yeah, they're third place in the West. That is correct.
I am all in on the Pablo Mastroeni train. He's bringing this club places, man. I don't know if he's bringing them to the top, but he's bringing them places.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy with what he's done with the club. The club's been making good decisions under his tenure as coach. So I say keep him on. His seat isn't even warm for me. Nice and cold for me.
I agree with you. It is icy cold. I'm not.
Yeah. Also, 18-year-old Fidel Barajas getting the start. Love to see that. Love to see the youth getting chances.
Especially
and
because
playing well.
Wow. RSL's not been super good about giving youth chances in the past either, so that's a welcome change if they can run out different players for once.
Absolutely. Yep. We have a correspondence corner back to Chicago, I guess, unless you had anything else on RSL.
No. Let's let Tim end it out for us, and then we'll move on to the actual game of the week.
Okay, this is a long one. Chicago Fire tied their record for worst home loss in team history after getting shellacked 4-0 by RSL, the first time since their home playoff loss to Red Bulls in 2017 that they've seen that scoreline. That was probably the last time they were in the playoffs, it feels like. The score was unusual, but the goals the Fire allowed were painfully familiar. I 100% agree with that. A careless back pass to Golden Boot leading Chicho Arango, leaving him unmarked on corners, even a dagger deep in second half stoppage time. Adding injury to insult, 4 players went down between warm-ups and the final whistle, but that alone doesn't excuse the devastating result. Frank Klopas in his current tenure now has virtually identical record to Ezra Hendrickson, who was fired after 10 matches last season, but results have been the same under 3 different head coaches. You'd say something has to change, but really doesn't it feel more likely that everything stays the same? Well put. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, something needs to change, I agree, but you change the coaches, you change the players, and what does that indicate? Bad decision-making.
Yeah. And so, I don't think that decision-making process is changing anytime soon.
Needs to.
I agree with you.
That is way at the top. That is like organizational culture, organizational structure change. That's going to take a while.
Ownership needs to sit down and reevaluate what they want out of the Chicago Fire and if they have the right people in place to lead it. And I don't know if that sit down happens. Just full stop.
Yeah. Unfortunate. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, we're going to go to SKC 3, St. Louis 3. Gavin, it's the game of the week, and I think it's my best headline of the episode. Some people call SKC playing in the blue hell. Fans left feeling like they had blue balls at St. Louis ruins their happy ending.
That is excellent. Okay, I loved that one. Good job.
Yeah. It doesn't get any better from here. I can tell you. I wrote headlines for a lot of the rest of these, and by a lot of the rest of these, I mean literally all of the rest of the matches I have headlines for. That's my best work on the episode. It only gets worse from here.
Yeah, that was peak. For me, I guess my headline or just like my one sentence summary is this is just an instant classic MLS match for me.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched this game, go back and watch it. Is what I'll say. Where do you want to start? The first goal?
Hey, here's a thought. You want to start with 2 correspondent corners instead, and then we can cover anything they don't talk about?
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Do you want St. Louis's or SKC?
hey, give us SKC first. We'll let SKC set the tone.
Okay. Pro referees are terrible. Gotta start off like that. Was this from Travis? I didn't write it down. I'm sorry.
Travis,
Was this from Travis? Okay.
SKC spins.
Yeah. Thank you. Pro referees are terrible. Where have we heard that one before? St. Louis City SCs. It's stupid they call themselves City. Are they worried people will confuse it with the person St. Louis? Question mark. Do they hate St. Louis County? Question mark. It's funny. St. Louis City SC's first 2 goals came after highly questionable no calls. SKC failed to meet St. Louis's intensity, but I felt like if they did, they would have been punished for it. Okay. Regardless, this is 2 more points dropped from a winning position, making the total 14 dropped points from a winning position for the season. That's insane to be at that level already. Wow.
Yeah.
SKC continues to get goals at a nice clip. It was nice to see the beautiful build-up and strike for the goal from Pulido. It was gorgeous. Tommy continues his incredible run of form. Dear soccer gods, please send us defensive help and don't let Alex Chapman ref any of our games for a while. So that's the SKC view of things. I think that's a pretty good lens.
I agree.
I don't fully agree on the ref calls. I think they were both shoulders. And in a rivalry match, refs tend to let those shoulders go a bit more, I think.
I will say they absolutely do, because we've seen the same thing for the Hell is Real match between Cincinnati and Columbus. The calls are different in rivalry matches.
And I think that's okay. I don't think either of them were fouls. Do you?
I think those are probably 50-50 fouls in other matches. But to your point, in a rivalry match, and maybe this is going to sound crazy, right? We always ask for consistency in refereeing. And if we're going to ask for consistency in refereeing, then I feel like you have to apply that to rivalry matches as well.
Yeah, I just like... If that was called a foul, not even to stop a goal, just if that was called a foul, my first instinct would be to say, that's a soft foul. It's shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, the guy goes flying, but it's because 2 players are going in at speed. One of them gets flung off. He's not as strong as the other, but it's still shoulder to shoulder. And like, that's always kind of been the understanding, is shoulder to shoulder is fair. It's
Contact
fair game.
Sport.
Contact sport. So don't get flung way off the ball. If he called it, I would have been like, okay. But I didn't think it was enough for VAR to bring the ref over to the monitor on either of them, for either of them. So that's my take on the 2 referee calls.
Yeah. That said, I understand and think it's fair, the SKC lens on it.
Yes.
Because again, we've seen them called fouls, and to have shoulder to shoulder multiple times go uncalled, I can see why people might feel aggrieved.
Yep. But yeah, St. Louis came to play. They were very aggressive.
Right. Which, for the side, real quick before we go to St. Louis, just setting some tone here. St. Louis did come to play. They still left with a draw. I mean, now granted, this is a draw that feels like a win, given the circumstances, but I mean, they are sitting in 9th place still on 12 points. I mean, 2 wins.
Lots of draws.
6 draws, Gavin. 6. Nobody in the West has as many draws as them. Nobody in MLS in general has as many draws as them.
Yeah, 2/3 of their games have been draws. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, if I'm looking at just this result, it's a good draw. But you bring up a good point that in the range of the season, it's like, when are y'all going to start winning games?
Right.
Come on, let's go.
Now, granted, if they play like this week in, week out, I think in different environments, some of their draws turn into wins with this level of intensity.
Yes, but like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, sorry, that was just me on a tangent there, since that's where their season is right now. Let's go to Tyler though for the St. Louis perspective.
Yeah, Tyler says, normally I don't like the phrase a point was stolen on the road. So in the spirit of Kansas's retail parking lot buddy, Nebraska Furniture Mart, I'll say it was shoplifted. That's excellent. Both of them coming out with a little bit of fire on the rivalry. I like it. It's
Love
good.
it.
Wins are still hard to come by, but at least Saturday proved City at least has the ability to rise to the occasion. After conceding somewhat early, the team seemed to find another gear previously untouched this season, entering the locker room with a commanding 2-1 lead. That second half, on the other hand, was rough. Carnell needs to find a better solution up one on the road than poorly attempting to park the bus for 30 minutes. On the positive side, cheers to Thomas Totland opening his goal count in spectacular fashion. Joao Klaus put in probably the best half of his City career in the first 45 minutes. He's slowly building a reputation of not just poaching goals, but orchestrating attacks. Like we talked about earlier this season, remember? We talked about how he's been dropping deeper, and they needed to keep using him in that position because later on in the season he could be really good at it. So far, it seems to be working for them. Okay, he's slowly building. Okay. And the physicality was sublime. Yep. It may not work every week, but that's the type of soccer previously missing this season that worked so well last year. So St. Louis definitely a lot more positive on the result. Both come away with a point.
Yeah. I think this is more sustainable soccer though for St. Louis. Where we talk about how long can you replicate this level of performance across a whole season, and especially deep into the season, such as playoffs, where you've gone through 8, 9, 10 months of soccer. I think this is something they have a chance at replicating for those 9, 10 months of soccer.
I hope they're doing the start the season slow and the season strong thing, because it'd be kind of really cool to see them kind of, they started the season really slow, not really pressing at all. Maybe in the middle of the season, they start to really pick up a gear. And then come the end of the season, they're just like a well-oiled machine, working hard, rotation, just picking up points left, right, and center, and going to the playoffs just humming along. That'd be really cool to see, but much easier said than done. Okay, shall we go to the next game?
Let's go to the next one. We got Houston 0, Austin 1. Headline here, Gavin. Houston, we have a problem as Austin are given the green light for liftoff.
That's a good one. This really frustrated me.
This one frustrated me as well.
I think Houston were surprised at how competitive Austin were in this match. Like, it almost felt like a mentality thing.
They went in thinking, Austin are terrible this year. We're going to be able to just have a walk in the park. We're going to be Gonzalo Higuain. We're going to be running out on the pitch, smoking a cigarette. Not a care in the world. And they went out there and they're like, oh my gosh, Austin are playing soccer.
And it's like, just Houston didn't play for me, they didn't play with enough urgency to go and win the match. They almost felt like, I think that the reason it felt to me that they were being cocky is that the lack of urgency, and they just felt a goal was going to come. Like, okay, we're better than them. Like, eventually the goal will come. It's just a matter of how. Let's just play. We'll get through them. They're not that good. Austin showed up to play. Houston weren't ready for it, and they stole it at the death with unfortunately, a really easy goal to concede. I mean, if for our listeners who haven't seen the goal, it's a goal kick. He kicks it up. It's a flick-on header. Rigoni's through on goal, and it's a goal. Like, it's literally that simple. So Houston will be pretty disappointed with how this game went. It just wasn't enough intensity from them. Only positive on the night is Ache is back.
Yes, he is. And I am confident that given, hopefully, Ache starting, that he's going to walk out there and he's going to say, guys, we lost to Austin because we took for granted that we were going to be able to score, that they weren't good, that we were just going to get the win. He has shown excellent leadership last year, and I think getting him back on the field consistently is going to reintroduce that leadership and reintroduce that spark to be a little more of a, proactive team for a full 90 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope so. Now they just have to go away to Dallas. And, they're coming off the back of a game where they were lacking intensity in a rivalry match. Now they have another rivalry match. You would hope that they would pick it up a notch and go out and win that, but we'll see.
You would hope that. Do you have anything to add there on this match before we move on?
No, let's keep it moving. That's all I had.
Right. Well, we talked about Dallas, so conveniently enough, Colorado 2, Dallas 1. Gavin, they say everything is bigger in Texas, but the thing is, Dallas failed to make any sort of big splash when trying to dive into the Rapids.
Agree with all of that. My headline I wrote down, FC Dallas score 3 goals and lose.
Love that.
Love
that. Big fan.
Okay, can we talk about Colorado for a second?
Okay, hold on. This reminds me of like that meme where people are like, oh yeah, Shohei Ohtani is going to be like, he'll go show up in like the newspapers and it'll be like, Shohei Ohtani, pitches perfect game not seen since, Tom O. Iron Arm in like the 1920s. Mike Trout hits 5 home runs as Angels fall 5-11 to the Dodgers or something. Like,
yep. So, are Colorado convincing you yet? They're in 4th in the West.
They're okay.
I'm not convinced.
They're not convincing me.
I'm not fully there. I can't with them.
I'm not convinced, but the thing is, I don't think they're frauds either. I think they've been just getting a lot of variance going their way. I think they're a playoff team, but top 4 is generous.
Thank you. Yep. I mean, okay. They've conceded the same number of goals as Austin, one less than LAFC, one less than St. Louis.
Okay. That's good company to be in. 2 of those teams are very good.
Yeah. Well, they're in 7th and 9th right now. And they have 15 goals. And so it's like, they're not like, they're getting points in really close games. And to me, it's just, I'm not convinced. It's too many close games for me. Anyone who's like on the Colorado hype train from the summer and, they're in the top 4, they're only 3 points off first in the West. Like, for me, cool it. Because they're going to hit a dip. They're going to hit a dip here in a little bit. I don't know if they've just had easy matches or what, but pump the brakes.
Wow.
For example, they play Cincinnati next week. I don't see them winning that.
Man.
That's almost like a lock for me that Cincinnati would beat them.
The insane thing here is that it's Cincinnati at home.
Mm-hmm. You guys have been terrible at home.
Yeah, we've been really not good at home is the disappointing aspect of that.
Yeah.
But we just got to win in Atlanta. Like, if that doesn't boost morale and you've got Kevin Kelsey coming in and you hope he starts or features, so who knows?
Yeah. No, yeah. So, for me, I'm not fully convinced by Colorado. Dallas, we already know they're a dumpster fire. I don't have much more to say to that other than Bernard Kamungo was back off the bench, and Dallas looked for the first time this season decent after he came into the match. So some sort of something there. There was some life there after Kamungo came in.
Yeah, I think Estevez still needs to go. You can't hear me out on this one. You can't have one guy coming in being the reason why you look decent.
The tactics have gone downhill.
Yeah, like
Estevez is quickly going into the Pineda camp for me of like, you're not at the level, dude. You're not at the level to bring a team to the top. Because with this squad, a good coach would get them into a playoff position in the West. And right now, Dallas are the second worst team in the league, or third worst team in the league. So, yeah, he's just another one on the list of coaches to keep an eye on. But yeah, that's all I really had. For me, this was kind of a nothing game, and just Colorado eked it out in the end. They were up 2-0 and almost gave it away.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, sometimes that's a sign of a team that's getting their act together, is they can eke out close wins that otherwise would have been losses for them. So not everyone can say that you win when your opponent scores 3 goals, and Colorado can say they did that. So
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, hey, we already talked about Seattle, Vancouver, which takes us to LAFC versus New York Red Bulls. Hey, fun fact here, Gavin, Rage Against the Machine started in Los Angeles, which explains why the New York Red Bulls were able to be on parade here this weekend as they get a 2-2 draw with LAFC.
Yeah, Red Bulls, after a disappointing result last week, not beating Chicago at home, go on the road and get what some would consider to be a really, really good result, a draw at LAFC. It's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, playing at LAFC is a very tricky environment. Now, granted, LAFC also do technically score 3 goals in this one as well and don't win, but you can take it as you want either way. Denny Bouanga gets the equalizer both times. Shocking. I mean, it's a 90. Hold on, 90 plus 6. I've looked it up, the exact timing of it. I mean, that's a guy who is going to define LAFC if he's consistently scoring goals and he's making the big play in the big moment.
It's really interesting you say that, actually, and I think you're 100% correct, because earlier this season he went through a scoring drought and LAFC struggled to pick up points. Now it's a draw at home, but Bouanga's starting to score at his normal rate again over these last few weeks, and they're picking up points, putting the ball in the back of the net, picking up points. So, yeah, I do think Bouanga at this moment in time is the guy for them. Giroud is still coming, right? He's coming in the summer?
After the Euros.
That's confirmed, 100%?
I believe so, yes.
I think that's confirmed. So, like, it's
I saw Fabrizio Romano tweet it, so I mean, I could never be wrong.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they play with him up top, and how the two of them connect, because I think that's going to be a really good pairing, and it won't just only be on Bouanga, but right now it kind of feels like that. And then maybe a supporting player steps up for them, right? Like a Bogusz or an Oliveira, but it's really
like a Tillman.
Yeah, but it's mostly just been Bogusz, it feels like. So,
yeah,
that's why they're not in the top 5 right now.
Really. No, but I think they will get to the upper 4 or 5 teams by the end of the season. On paper, when I look at it, Giroud brings a different look that is going to give Bouanga even more space to run.
Yep.
And like, Bouanga's already, I think, the guy for them. I think when you can be the guy and teams can't just treat you as the guy because there's another person who could also be quote unquote the guy, like you start to look even better because no longer can you get like, marked into oblivion where like it takes a moment of brilliance to go get a goal because you have to fight through multiple defenders. Like now your quality shines through because you're in one-on-one situations because you can't afford to ignore the other person.
That's how they won the cup.
Yeah.
They had that level of talent, and some will say that the roster rules made it to where they couldn't build on that. They had to literally go backwards from that. Is that what we want to see? I don't know. But it's the same thing that happens in the NBA, right? You get this talent all together, you win. Same thing happens in the NFL too. Get this talent together, you win. Well, when you win, everyone wants better salaries. You can't do that under the salary cap. You got to get rid of a Kellen Acosta. You got to get rid of Palacios, on and on and on. So, disappointing in terms of the way that works in our league. With Red Bulls, like we said, promising result. They almost went up the field and won it at the death as well. They hit the crossbar in the last second of the match. Sweat. Yes, it was close.
Yeah. That said, another instance of that sweating was in anticipation because I had a Vancouver New York Red Bulls combination that very nearly hit. So
dang, that sucks.
I know. I had a whole bunch of 3 legs and 4 legs, and like I was 2 for 3 or 3 for 4 on a ton of them.
You weren't 3 for 3 on many of them.
Yeah. I was 3 for 3 on a couple, and I was 2 for 2 on a couple. I wasn't 4 for 4 on any. So
it's the way it works.
It is what it is. I mean, it's a parity league. Nothing's a sure thing. So
yeah. All right, let's get these last two done real quick.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm putting you on the spot for Charlotte, Minnesota. Charlotte 0, Minnesota 3. Gavin, I could not be bothered to write a headline for this one because I ran out of creative juices. I'll just admit it straight up. I hit a wall. I had writer's block on this one.
I came up clutch. Eric Ramsey crowns himself the better Englishman in MLS.
Wow. I like that.
So obviously Eric Ramsey and Dean Smith, both Englishmen, both in MLS, and Eric Ramsey smashed him 3-0. So
I think the real
and
question
of course
is,
the crown, Charlotte, Queen City crown. Okay,
but did Sir Minty give him the crown?
Of course he had to.
Okay.
What
if that's a thing? Like, what if Sir Minty, like, when you get to, the end of the match, Sir Minty has to, like, crown the manager on the winning
winning manager.
Yeah.
Oh, that would suck. Okay, from Maddie Krause, correspondent corner. She says Minnesota is big time back. Charlotte had been unbeaten for 13 at home. Minnesota walked in there and stepped all over them. We had a change in center back, benched Pookie and Bongi, and Sang Bin on international duty. Ramsey put together a whole new lineup that did exactly what he wanted us to do, dominate and score. Excuse me. Tanny is a fantastic addition to the lineup who I hope stays there. He's fast, crafty, and efficient. Laud is back to his prime ways with 2 assists and a goal, and we adjusted along the way to continue to dominate. With the way this man is coaching us, we should be top of the West eventually. It was dominant. Like I think what Maddie's saying isn't just her being like a Minnesota fan. Like I remember I turned on this game in the first half, early on in the first half, and I think I just put out to be like, oh, this is gonna be a fun game. Because what I was seeing was Minnesota dominating the play. And usually when the away team is dominating, like the home team eventually like figures it out. And then it's kind of a back and forth game. So that's why I was expecting to be really fun. But Minnesota just didn't stop. Like Maddie was saying, they just didn't stop. And they were dominant, 3 goals. Tanny Alawushei looked really good. He's looked good all season. Every time he's been in, and he gets the start really quick. Causes a lot of chaos up front, and hopefully Minnesota can keep it up. They've been one of the better teams in the league this season.
Yeah, I can only echo what Maddie's saying. It was a complete performance from Minnesota. I mean, I almost don't have and don't need to have any notes on the rest of this match because, yes, Charlotte had more possession. What did they do with it?
Oh, nothing. Not a lot.
Yeah.
They one or two chances, but yeah.
Right. But I mean, Minnesota was aggressive. They shut down Charlotte in the places that it mattered. They had a clear identity, a clear game plan. At no point in time in this match did I, once that first goal went in for Minnesota, I was like, this game's done.
Yep.
They're the better team.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. Okay. Galaxy 4, San Jose 3.
Oh my gosh.
Hit me with your best shot.
Hey, look, I'm just saying it's another stellar performance by the Galaxy while San Jose continued to feel some concerning tremors for their season.
You could have said that about NYCFC if they lost.
Yeah, well, here.
Yeah.
Look, point being here, Gavin, Galaxy are the best team in the West. I think it's safe to say that. They're the best team in the West. They're the best team in the West on the standings, but I think also in terms of consistent performances, they are also the best team in the West. This is not like a fluke sitting at the top because you had easy matches. This is a team that is firing on all cylinders right now.
Lovely to see.
My only concern here, and maybe you chalk this up to Cali Classico, right, is you go up 3-0, and then San Jose scores a goal. Okay. You go back up 4-1. San Jose, is like, okay, they're back up 3 goals. Surely this is locked down. It's safe. And then it gets a little bit nervy at 4-3, and I even found myself at one point as the match went on thinking, are we going to see a 4-4 draw? And
I thought that was going to happen, especially after the red card. And San Jose were pushing for, like a solid 5-6 minute spell. San Jose were all over them. Galaxy eventually got some subs in and kind of righted the ship. But San Jose were really close to scoring on a number of occasions. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd chalk this one up to just Cali Classico. Players are like, look, we need to put out some sort of showing. There's the red card. Like, it's now or never. They got the goal to go 4-2. They had belief. They went to 4-3. They could smell blood in the water. They're like, we could salvage it. And it pushes them like with that extra bit of, adrenaline or energy or something to where they say like, come on, let's go. Let's push. Let's get a draw. Let's, see this game out and get a result. It's going to help turn around the season. They end up falling short on it anyways. I have no belief that this is replicable for them, though, based on the balance of the season.
For San Jose or from Galaxy?
For San Jose.
Oh, yeah, no, their goals were so random.
Yeah.
There was no attacking patterns that their goals came from. It was just like launch the ball into the box, they get a goal, and because Galaxy switched off for a second after going 3 goals up twice. It feels like that happened twice. And then the third goal was just another goal where it's like their attacking patterns of play aren't good. It's just a fluke goal from a moment.
Yeah.
So I agree. I thought it was going to end 4-4, though. I thought they were going to do it. I was like, let's do it. Come on, let's go.
Fearing it.
For your money.
I was terrified. No, by the point in time that this match had rolled around, everything was out for me.
Could you imagine if Galaxy let a 3-0 and a 4-1 slip?
That would have been.
Bad.
Don't know what happened here, because San Jose, I think you're right. I think they did just switch off because, again, San Jose, worst team in the league right now. You think we're up 3 goals. This is probably locked in. You turn off. They're pulling back and go. Yeah, I think I'm on board with your theory there. I don't know if I read anything at all into any of the goals for San Jose.
No. And then when Galaxy finally were able to like shut it down defensively, like San Jose didn't. I mean, there was a solid like 15, 20 minutes where San Jose were up a man. And once Galaxy like caught their bearings, San Jose couldn't create against them anymore.
It felt like Galaxy forgot they were down a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like again, they were attacking as though there were 11 guys on the field. And
you know, we've talked about this before. It's hard to score against 10 men even. Like if a team locks it down defensively and they're in their box, like it's still crowded. It's still hard to get the ball in the back of the net, even though it's easier to get to their box. But San Jose, again, it's the attacking patterns of play. They really didn't have that threat, that creativity to pick the lock. And they were just forced to like corners and crosses and whatnot. And Galaxy defended it well.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Gavin, do you want to do a light speed, 3-leg lock in, and then we'll wrap it up?
Yeah, I did mine yesterday. I was being proactive there.
I did mine just now, and I have to tell you, it took me 8 seconds to do it when I saw the very first 3 matchups of the weekend. I would be shocked if we didn't have the exact same picks.
Oh, I went very different. I'm done picking results right now.
Okay.
I'm tired of it, man. How did Houston lose to Austin at home? I'm over it. Okay, I'll go first. I did pick a result here. Tie or Galaxy against Austin.
Okay.
Tie or Galaxy. Come on.
That's as safe as it gets. Yeah.
Let's go. Over 2.5 goals Chicago, Atlanta. Over 2.5 goals LAFC, Portland.
That's very fair.
Just 3 goals in those games. 3 goals in those games and Galaxy to not lose. That's what I need.
I'll tell you right now, Gavin, I think I have just as conservative as picks, and I went with 3 results.
Not going to happen for you.
Well, it happened last week, so. Hey. So I picked LA Galaxy to win over Austin.
Okay.
I picked Inter Miami to win over New England Revolution.
Okay.
And I picked FC Cincinnati to win over Colorado Rapids.
I think Cincinnati is a lock, personally.
I think Inter Miami over Revolution is a lock. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on that one. I might do a same. But the reason is because if Messi and co don't start because of the pitch, that'd be the only reason.
I don't think that matters.
Well, if they don't have Messi and co, they have no one. New England at least have Hill. Carlos Hill.
Yeah, and let me do some quick math here. And that has yielded them 6 losses.
Whatever. Look, I'm just gonna keep an eye on the starting lineup before I pick them for a result. Is all I'm saying.
All I'm gonna say, Gavin, is right now Inter Miami are at plus 120. So
that makes it a little more appealing.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't take that.
Do you look at Houston against Dallas and say they'll bounce back against a really bad Dallas, or do you lose faith in them after what happened last week?
I would take a really good Houston, and I would take Philadelphia Union over RSL because it's Philly at home, and Philly have been on an absolute tear. They're the only undefeated team in MLS.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Maybe a Philly or tie.
Yeah, Philly or tie, I think, is a lock. I would still take just Philly money line, though.
You're absurd. You're insane. Okay, locks for me would be Galaxy over Austin. I was going safe with the or tie. Cincy over Colorado. I don't really see any other full locks. other than those two for me. I wouldn't even put Inter Miami over New England. I really wouldn't. Not until I see the lineup.
Maybe. Hey, here's one that I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. Nashville, San Jose.
Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it.
You could not give me free money to put on that match.
Nothing. Nothing at all. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, honestly, maybe this is the one time that I would just look at it and be like, draw?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Nashville just because, like, I mean, San Jose are a dumpster fire.
But so are Nashville. The only difference is Nashville have 3 draws.
Yeah, so. Okay, well, I think that's that. That's about as lightning as it gets when it comes to us.
Yeah, I suppose so. That is probably about as lightning as it gets. Hey, any thoughts? Any closing comments? Anything you want to part on?
We had a lot of people coming to the live stream today, so keep coming checking us out. 9 p.m. on Mondays. We had some technical issues today, so that's why we're running late.
I loved that the technical issues is the time that we seemingly had the most people poking their heads in. That was no notes. Chef's kiss.
It's the way to do it.
Let's have technical issues more often.
Yeah, that's all I got, I think. I guess I did go and get a drink. I got a Sam Adams Summer Ale, so if anyone was wondering.
Well, post, recording drink check then, I had a Breckenridge Brewery Vanilla Porter. And I can tell you it's more porter than it is vanilla. So, not necessarily a complaint because I like porters, but I feel like they could have said porter vanilla, and that would have better represented the order.
Better for you.
Yeah, it would have better represented the order of flavors there. So,
gotcha.
Right. Well, hey. Anyways, important, as always, you can find Gavin on social media at LionsBlog1. You can find me on social media at Mr. Dangerous. You can find the podcast on social media at MLS Now Podcast. Gavin, listeners, thank you. And, hey, till next time.
Till next time.